Hello, and welcome to Geno's Gizmos. This vise has been used regularly for several years now. It says it's a Pony, model number 24545. I have no idea what that means, and I'm not familiar with the brand, but we've been using it here in the shop for a while. Not even sure where it came from. But if you look, you can see that the base is really loose. It just wiggles everywhere. So that's been an issue. I just took it loose and from the bench where it's been mounted, and the bolt has fallen out of the base. So where it swivels, that's just barely hanging on. So I'm going to disassemble this and make sure everything's good and put it all back together and stick it back in service. I'm not going to clean it much, just the areas that need to be. I'll lubricate it where it needs to be or where I think it needs to be. I might knock a few things off on it to make sure it's in good shape. You can see it's got a lot of wear in it. It's obviously a cheap vise, but there you go. We're going to disassemble this and fix it. A little rust in there. I'm not gonna worry about that too much. I might take a little Emory to it and then we'll make sure it gets lubricated. A little grease. Check this bolt, make sure it's okay. Man, it's been loose for a long time. Looks like it's gonna go back together fine. We'll put some LocTite on that to keep that from coming loose. Looks like there ought to be a washer there. And the washer off there fell off. Let's see what happens when I reassemble it by hand. There's plenty of room in there for a washer. So I'll disassemble that again. We'll put a washer in there. That'll give them more of a bearing surface. We'll make sure everything gets lubricated. A little LocTite on here to keep that from coming loose again. So clean this off. There's a little bit too much gunk on there. It's definitely been rubbing for a while. We'll get this fixed. Put it all back together. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and take this all the way apart here. I'm pretty sure there's no stop on this one, so we're just going to take it all the way out. Yep, there you go. A lot of gunk on there. Clean that up. I'll clean that up in there too. There's a C-clip here. I could take that off and we could remove this. I'm not sure I want to do that. Although there is a lot of play in there, I might want to put another washer in it to tighten it up on this side over here so that we don't have so much in and out play. I think I'll do that. Well, that went flying. And I dropped it again. At least it didn't go too far. That's pretty dirty down in there. We'll clean that all up. I'm going to add a spacer washer to this side to take up that difference. I'm going to go find one right now. Okay, so I found this 5/8 washer. It will not fit in there, but the washer from the other side will. So there's my new bearing surface, that washer. This will be the bearing surface on the other side. Just got to clean everything up. Ran out of degreaser, so I've used WD-40 as a degreaser. Got it down to bare metal here. I think I've got all the gunk off of it. I'm going to take emery cloth to this and clean that up, make that smoother. Try to get away from any imperfections. Well, not necessarily imperfections, but anything that make the in and out motion of this bar harder to operate. So we're going to sand that all down now. Okay, I've got that cleaned up. I used emery cloth on it after I cleaned it with WD-40. Knocked down all the rough spots on it, but then I actually thought it needed a little bit more, so I took it to the power wire wheel. It was a 6-inch grinder with wire wheels on it, coarse and fine. And the end, when it got chopped, was rough. It was actually sharp, so I took and ground the edges down to take away the sharpness. If you happen to catch your hand or something on it, it won't hurt as bad. So that part's ready to go. This part just needs a little bit of cleaning. And we can put that part back together. I'm going to take the jaw off and clean in behind it. And same on the other side. We'll take the jaw off on the other side and clean in behind it. Then I'm going to clean down inside the I just can't think of the name right now. And inside the worm gear, I think that's the proper term. We'll clean that off in there. Make sure that this is cleaned out, this screw hole. And I'm going to be able to put some LocTite on that to keep it from coming apart. I'm going to use blue LocTite, not red. So if I ever want to disassemble it in the future, I won't have as much issue. Although I'm worried that if I use blue and not red, it may come apart again. So I'll make that decision about the time I'm ready to put it back together. That came apart pretty easy. They look like 1032 screws. We'll check them on the gauge. Yes, definitely 1032s. So that is not as dirty as I thought it might be back in there. There's a little bit of brass in here. We do a lot of key cutting. You can see the brass there. If I hit it with a screwdriver, you should be able to see it piling up. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to clean all that up. And then we'll put all that back together. This is an everyday used vise. The top of the clamp is clamp jaws are chewed up, and that's just the way we're going to leave it. Little wire brush comes from Harbor Freight. I think they come in a set of two, one steel and one brass. I have a couple sets of them. They get worn out. They're cheap enough to go out and buy another one, but they seem to last a long time. I'm using a bottoming tap to rethread all this. And I'll put blue LocTite on the screws when I put it back together. Might be hard to see in a video, but there's a lot of metal sitting here. I've already cleaned that side. Do that side too. I'm going to take some canned air. I'm going to watch my eyes and I'm going to blow this out. That's all that little extra dust from the tap. I'll put the jaw back on. Gonna get a little blue LocTite to go with it. Okay, those are snug down. I'm pretty sure this is put together with a pin through here, and then they welded over it. It is not tight, and I'm sure the only way for me to fix that would be to run a pin through here, or a steel bolt or something like that. And I may yet do that, but I don't know that I want to do that much to it. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's set that section aside. We're going to work on this part. Start by taking the jaw off. Screwdriver was a gift from a friend of mine, and it comes in handy. Okay, look at this one. You can see there's a lot more material in behind the jaw. Again, that's brass. That's caused from the work we do with keys. I'm going to clean all that up. I'm going to clean this up in here. Clean this base up. I'll get back in there a little bit, and we'll get this ready to reassemble. It might be hard to see in the video, but there was a nice curl here, and I've taken most of it off. Try to get this as flat against that part as possible. That pile of stuff that came out of there. I'm going to do the other side and finish this up, and probably be about time for reassembly here. I still got to do the base, but other than that, I think we're about there. I've taken emery cloth to this and to this and smoothed that all out. How dirty my hands are getting from that. So I'm ready to start reassembly. Actually, I'm going to run a thread chaser in there, and then we'll start reassembly here. So it turns out this bolt is metric. It's an M12 by 1.75. Went through all my standard stuff and didn't have the tap. Went through some stuff I've got set aside, some Pittsburgh taps. The handles are really nasty, no good. But I just happened to find the right size tap. So I'm going to go ahead and thread chase that. Wish I had a little marine grease to use on this, but I don't, so we're going to use Lubriplate. Some people may know what that is, but this particular one I've had laying around here for a while, and we're just going to apply a small amount to the surface, kind of fill those cracks. That's all we're doing, trying to fill those cracks with grease, and just enough basically to fill those voids and help it flow a little better when the vise is turning or moving or being repositioned. So I'm going to wipe it out of the center. And we'll put some on the bolt as we reassemble this. So that will go on there, like so. I still have to find a washer for that. I'm going to go do that right now. That's probably about that's a number 12 metric bolt, so that's pretty close to 7/16, half inch, somewhere around there. All right, I just happened to find half-inch inside diameter, and I believe it's a 3/4 inch outside diameter, and that will fit perfect for where I need it. Well, I didn't get my wrench out ahead of time, but that should be a 17 millimeter. Look at that, 17 millimeter. Now I'm not going to over torque this. I'm just going to tighten it up. And that is too much with the washer on there. So we'll take the washer back off. It flopped around before. Now it wants to actually sit in there. So let's take the washer off, put her back together. Add a little bit more blue LocTite just to make sure it stays. Oh, I see what the issue is. It doesn't go in straight. All right, let's see if we can correct this. So I got that set, tightened down. Turns pretty good. It's stiff, but it's not really tight. So we can tell there's some imperfections in it. So This is the washer that's off of the swivel lock, and it's pretty thin. So I'm going to go find a different washer for it. One that's not so thin. It might work a little better for this. All right, we'll put that in there. I'll put a little Lubriplate only on this portion. I want the rest of it, the threads, to stay clean. I don't want to get any grease on them. New washer. Getting that started is always fun. We can push it through, give it a couple turns from the back, and then finish pushing it through. There we go. Like I said, pull it out a little bit, get a couple threads started, and then finish it up this way. Okay. That really grabs now. I've hardly put any tension on that. So, get some stuff out of my way here. I'm going to put this, I guess we'll put the jaw back on this section. Got too small a space to work in. Put that jaw back on there. 1032 screws. Gyroscopic screwdriver. Come back with a number 2 Phillips, tighten down by hand. And I forgot to put the LocTite on it, so let's take them apart, put LocTite on them. So much for using the gyroscopic screwdriver. It's almost just as fast doing it this way. Little blue LocTite. Keep those from coming apart easily. Snug down, not over tighten. Okay. Let's set the grease out of the way. Let's set the emery cloth out of the way. All our tools. I'm going to throw away that washer that came out of there. Let's start putting this back together. I'm going to give that a little cleaning. Put a little lubricant plate up here. Just on this part, right here. I'm going to slide that washer on there because it's the one we know we want on this side because it'll fit. Down inside here, we'll put a little Lubriplate on there. And any excess after we start tightening this down or putting this in there, we'll remove with a rag. There, that looks pretty good right there. I'm going to take the rag and I'm going to wipe off the threads. All right. So, let's see why they took and didn't put anything on that side. Let's see if we can get that washer in there. And the clip. I don't think we can. I think my washer's too thick. Okay. It is too thick. So the washer has to be here because this is a bearing surface and we don't want this clip against the bearing surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually thinking I'm going to take the thicker one, put here. That'll take up that space. And we should be good to go. We'll put some grease here. Not on the shaft. So that should give us less wiggle, I guess is the term. Find a pair of long needle nose pliers. Sure doesn't want to go in. There it goes. Okay, there's less play than there was before. It's not all gone, but it is a cheap vise. So I'm gonna put some grease in here. I'm just gonna wipe this down with a little bit of grease. I just want enough to fill the pores. And that's all I'm doing is just filling the pores. Okay, let's put this thing back together. Gotta get her to start. There we go. So I believe I've got this vise repaired to make it easier for my employees to use. It's at the locksmith workbench. This led a very rough life. I got a Cleveland sitting over here I was going to put on there, but I think this is actually a better vise for that, where this is being used. Now that I've got it adjusted and repaired. I especially like on this vise this lip at the top where where the jaws stick up. Let me get some stuff here and show you what I'm talking about. So often in this industry, we have to adjust a key. We'll put it up there and we'll have to file it by hand. Because this has this lip, now I got something to lay that key against so I can file and I can rock it over the edge here and still have it up against that lip, make it easier for me to file. So I like it with a lip. As always, folks, hit that subscribe button, comment if you'd like, punch that like button, be sure to turn on notifications, and check out the other videos from Geno's Gizmos as well as from Starfleet Lock and Safe. There you have it.